little bit differently this week. Usually we have a guest in the studio and we help them with whatever their challenge is. It could be business, it could be life challenges. We discover the story behind the challenge, change that story, and then build new strategies and new futures. Today, what I want to do, here's what I noticed over the last 4 people we've worked with, is there's been a lot of surprising things that have come out from that. And so I just want to sort of go over or review or reveal what went on to get those transformations in those first 4, and then looking forward to getting a whole lot more. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. Now, if you see me looking down or up or around and not at the camera, it's because I've taken some notes and I don't want to leave anything out. Okay. So one of the things that I discovered was that switching to this whole story and strategy live thing, people were thinking, well, don't you do help businesses anymore with content? And so what I wanted to do is clear that up first, because some people stop building businesses. Actually, the opposite is true, because I still help people build businesses. I still help you build your business. I've just discovered something after decades of coaching, counseling, and consulting, is that the biggest obstacle isn't the strategy, it's the story someone believes about themselves, because every challenge has a story. And every story can be rewritten. And every rewritten story creates a new future. And so, what I want to do is talk with you about the first 4 people, 4 completely different people, completely different challenges, and completely different transformations. But at the end, you'll see why the story changes everything, because it's that framework underneath that's making this happen so fast. Okay, so our first guest was Chris Peden, client of mine, and he had an interesting story. He was afraid. He's building his business, and he was afraid to send email because he thought he'd be annoying to people. Turns out there was a story behind that from his parents, and once we changed that story into, you have something that will change people's life. Chris is the chief profit advisor, and he is all about cash flow. Once we shifted that and had him realizing God gave you this gift, use it. Man, he's done great. He's blown up. His business is building. He's doing Substack Lives. He's doing incredibly good stuff. And that transformation was very powerful. One of the things I've noticed with these transformations is that, okay, you guys know I've been a therapist and a coach and all those things. And really, when you add it up, it's over 35,000 hours of sitting across from people that are hurting or stuck by something. And what I've watched with this is I've never seen someone change something so fast. That's why we're calling them transformations. And in future episodes, I want you to watch their face, because as they change the story, their countenance changes and the way they look changes. Now, I know 100 other things to look for because I've sat across from so many people. I've never seen it happen that fast. I've never seen it happen in 30 minutes. Now, there's work to do afterwards, but once we get that block done, they're doing incredibly well. Here's another one. Our second guest was Chris Hallett. And no, you don't have to be named Chris to be on. Okay. He came with a slightly similar story in that people were DMing him, responding to his stuff, and he was afraid to respond to them. Again, he didn't think he thought he would be an annoying marketer if we did that. Okay. His strategy wasn't broken. His story was. He had a story about it was bad to reach out to people. It just wasn't the right way to do it. Okay. And Here's how we changed the story, and I've got permission to share this. Chris is dealing with prostate cancer, first stage, caught early. He's going to be fine. Okay. But I asked him for permission to really go hard on this on the show. And I said, well, Chris, I mean, if you DM somebody because you were interested in something they were talking about, and it turned out that they had the pill that took care of prostate cancer in a day, how would you feel if they didn't reach back out to you? Would you want them to reach back out to you? Answer is obvious, like, heck yeah. Okay. Once the story changed, he's doing great. His whole business is, um, oh, come on. It's purpose before profit, purpose before profit. And he's helping small business CEOs change the culture, which changes the results. Okay. So a lot of times you're not stuck because you don't know what to do. You're stuck because the story about why you can't do it. Mary Jo, a client years ago, and of our generation and of the generation that remember you weren't supposed to make a phone call after 9 o'clock at night during the week. And if you were getting a phone call that late, something was wrong, right? It was an emergency. Remember that? Well, I helped her, build an offer and build the email and get it all ready and stuff. It was good stuff, and she was ready to go. She gets a hold of me after 9 here in the East Coast. She was on the, Mountain Time or maybe even, Pacific Time, but she knew it was 9 past 9 here, and she thought it was wrong to email after 9 o'clock, right? Now, some of y'all watching this don't even know about that being true, but it was at one time. And so once we got past that and changed that story, she did great things. Now, number 3, Cynthia. Um, this was more a life problem than it was anything else, because she was a pro at procrastinating out of fear and out of some other things that we'll get to in a minute. Now, this bled into her business because she does a lot of different things, including building a business about helping women structure their time so they get more life out of it and they're on time and they're not always stressed and organized. It's a lot of good stuff. Okay. She was very scared of technology. Okay. And knowing how to put it all together because she stopped there, stuck there. And she was also telling herself the story that if I do get over the fear and I do this, I've been putting it off so long that I'm going to feel regret for not doing it sooner. And so what we did is we changed that from regret into redemption. When you get past the fear and you build this, it's going to be redeeming. It's going to redeem all that junk you went through before. And I mean, one of the things I had her do on this show, you can go back and watch it at storyandstrategy.live. Another way to get there is jeffherring.com. Is that, remember, it was procrastination, right? So I had her commit right there in front of God and everybody on the show and everybody that's seen it since on the replay to take one action towards what she was building that night before her head hit the pillow that night and just spend 5 minutes. She was not allowed to spend more than 5 minutes on it. She texted me, she'd done it, and now she breaks that 5-minute rule every day. Okay. And it went from procrastination to taking action. She's moving, she's building confidence. Listen to this part, folks. Because the story changed, the person changed. And one of the things I see coming out of these transformations is new identity. People are changing into a better version of who they are and who they want to be. And it's just incredible. And that's why I wanted to take just a few minutes today, present these 4 stories, and then talk about the themes under them. And we got our buddy from last week, Mac Bogart. His question, can I do good and make money? It's not that he ever made money, never made money doing some of the stuff he does, but to go into what he wants to online, he was afraid he had to become some sleazy internet marketer. And you know the type of people I'm talking about, right? If you don't buy this in the next hour, your family's going to be poor and starving tomorrow and you're going to die. I'm exaggerating, but not by a whole lot, right? And so what we did is change that around, okay? And changed marketing. Watch this. Changed marketing into making invitations. Instead of beating people over with all the hard sell stuff, make an invitation. Hey, I'd like to invite you to, and here's what's going to happen. Here's what you're going to get. And I'd like to invite you to, you know, go here and let's get started. Okay. Simple language change, but a super powerful language change. Okay. So putting it all together. Okay. Chris came about business growth, emailing. Second Chris came about outreach. Cynthia came with fear and future regret. And Matt came with the whole notion of money. Four completely different challenges, right? Yet underneath of them, everyone had a story. And once that story changed, the strategy became clear. And they had the interchange that allowed them to get after it. And so this is why I'm doing this, having discovered all this and watched it happen, because this is why story and strategy is different. Coaches usually start with strategy. I start with story because strategy doesn't change people. People change strategy. When they transform, they're changing strategy, right? When people see themselves differently, they begin to act differently. When they act differently, your future changes. Okay. Write this down. This is a good write down. When you see yourself differently, you begin to act differently. And when you act differently, your future changes. Okay. So let me ask you, what challenges are showing up in your life that bug you? You wake up thinking about them. You wake up in the middle of the night about them. They're stressful for you. Okay. Is it in your business? Is it in relationships? Maybe in your confidence? What story might be underneath all of those? Okay. Because here's what I've learned, and write this one down too. You don't have to spend the rest of your life believing and living from a story that isn't true anymore. You don't have to spend the rest of your life believing and living from a story that isn't true anymore. Okay. So if you would like to be part of this show, good to see you there, Phil, and welcome, Keegan. We're doing a short show today. And don't worry though, this replay will be up by Saturday morning and you can watch it as many times as you want and pull from it what you need to, and then, get yourself involved in here. Okay. Because it's really easy. Now, if you could never see yourself being live talking about this stuff, that's okay too. On Saturday, in the story and strategy letter, the Saturday letter, there'll be a link for us to do this privately. Okay. However, if you want to do it live, great. I'd love to help. Okay. You can apply to be a future guest here on the show. And like I said, if you'd rather work privately, we'll do that too. Okay. I'd be honored to help you either way. Okay. Now, here's the thing, right? Because changing your future is challenging, you want to get it right, and I can help. Because changing your future is challenging, you want to get it right, and I can help. Okay. So where you want to go is this link, jeffherring.com/SSL. Hey, the woman, the myth, the legend, the legendary Ellen Britt just joined us. Hi, Ellen. Um, I would imagine with your background, you can really relate to this. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to type in this link for you guys. and try to talk and type at the same time? You try it. It's not the easiest thing to do. Spelled my name right. That's good. /SSL. That stands for Story and Strategy Live, right? Here it comes at you. It's just a 5 question questionnaire, making sure we're going to be a good fit together. And, and you can let me know whether you want to do it on the show or you want to do it privately. That's either way is fine. Okay. I just want you to do it because this is incredible, the stuff we're having. I mean, like I said at the beginning, having sat in front of people for 35,000 plus hours, hurting people and, worked in a lot of different places, small groups, speaking, all kinds of stuff. The thing I've watched is people change quickly when you know what patterns to look for. At the same time, I've never, in all those years and all those hours and all those things I've done, speaking and everything else, seen someone transform, seen someone get a transformation that fast. It's just it feels sacred to me. Okay, and the bottom line underneath all of that is doesn't matter whether your challenge is business or life, or maybe some of both. Every story, I'm sorry, let me start that over. Every challenge has a story. Every story can be rewritten, and every rewritten story changes your future. And I'd love to work with you. And this is, I'm so excited about this, as you can tell. It pulls together everything I've ever done. So jeffherring.com/SSL. Little 5 question form. You can do it like at 5 minutes, easy. Just send it on and I'll be in touch and we can talk about whether you want to do it here or you want to do it privately, whatever you want to do. Um, I hear somebody I hadn't seen before. What a cool Substack name, Of Good Courage. I'm going to check you out. All right. Thanks for being here. As always, a lot of places you could have been. And guess what? You chose to be with us. And that's always an honor and a privilege. And next week, we'll have another guest in the studio. Might be one of y'all. Finding out what the story is about the challenge, rewriting that story, and changing your future. Okay. And as always, I invite you to go use this stuff, catch the replay on Saturday, and the entire story and strategy letter that breaks this down and gives you a whole lot more. And as always, go use this stuff, and we'll catch you next time.